Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one Chief Rock and Knicks Universe. Man, Uncle Freezy. What's good? What's good? What's good? Man, it's long overdue, but we here. Chef NYK is in the building. Andrew College is in the building. What's good, y'all? It's good to see y'all, man. It's your man Rockin'. I'm here the day before the game. You know, here to see my Knicks. It's 4 days until the trade deadline. I'm concerned a little bit that nothing has been going on the Knicks front, not even a Cam Reddish deal. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'm not really going to get too deep into a Cam Reddish deal because I think at some point something's going to happen. Almighty Finesse is in the building. Eddie Ray is in the building. Almighty Finesse, that's my guy. What's good, boss? What's good, y'all? Whenever we see Eric Siriel, man, somebody let Eric Siriel know that we rocking, man, so we can get started. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I'm in Orlando. I don't have the normal setup, right? But I'm in this beautiful, palatial estate. Y'all can see what I'm talking about. I'm in this beautiful palatial estate, man, and what y'all can hear behind me is like some type of private pool joint behind me, man. Orlando is a beautiful place to be. I'm here to watch these Knicks. The trade deadline's coming up. We got a lot of stuff going on, and I'm here to rock with y'all. I'm here to rock. Paris Duggar is in the building. What is good? Illmatics is in the building. What's good, man? I see y'all. So I have a different setup here. So so y'all bear with me a little bit. Y'all bear with me a little bit as I try to attempt to do this and rock, man. It's like a little stuff going on. The Wi-Fi won't cooperate. So this podcast setup that I have here is basically null and void for the moment, man, until I figure it out. And then, so I'm just rocking from my phone. So I'm gonna ask Chris Burks is in the building. Wayne Peterson, what's good? I see you, man. Cormega, we here. Cormega, we here. We here with you. We here, man. We got to link up at some point. Yeah, man. So y'all bear with me as I rock from my phone, and just want to mention a few things just real quick. I got my man Dre backstage. Just want to mention the thing, just one thing. I don't know if Knicks content creators have said this or not. The Kyrie trade does impact the Knicks. I heard a lot of content creators say, the Kyrie going to the Mavs don't impact the Knicks and blah, blah, blah. Yes, it does. It directly impacts the Knicks because Kyrie Irving makes the Mavericks better, right? In my mind, Kyrie Irving makes the Nets, the Mavs better. How? Gives them a secondary ball handler, puts two potential Hall of Famers together, right? Now, with that said, if the Mavs get better, the draft pick we get from the Dallas Mavericks gets worse. I'm gonna and y'all listen for all my mods out there. For the mods, I'm not able to storm. I'm not able to monitor the gate. So if y'all can storm the gate for me, watch the gate, right? If y'all can watch the gate for me and make sure that our community stays safe, man. I appreciate y'all. I mean, I appreciate y'all anyway. But the Mavs getting Kyrie and Doncic together means the Mavs pick, in my mind, will be that much worse and one of the greatest drafts that we've seen in the last 30 years. Right. So with that said, is the draft deep? Yes. Is that something we should be concerned about in this moment? No. But at the same time, we should be concerned about Kyrie going to Dallas. But at the same time, the Knicks are impacted by the Kyrie trade. Don't let people tell you that the Knicks aren't doing okay. I mean, I'm sorry. Don't be concerned. Don't listen to what people saying that the Knicks aren't impacted directly. We are impacted directly by the Kyrie trade. I'm gonna bring in Dre. Dre, what's good, boss?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I'm chilling. How you? How you doing? How everybody
Man,
in the chat doing? Oh,
I'm good, man. I'm trying to do this from my phone. I feel like I'm an old man.
you good,
Feel
bro?
like an old man
You
fumbling
did.
through some stuff, man. But we'll make it
Uh,
work.
okay. Although I was to say you knocked out your feed, but you're right back. I think you probably went to another app though.
Yeah, for a second. I had like
That
my phone.
that
I don't like doing it from my phone because I get 1,000 text messages a second.
right.
But
And the way to piggyback off what you were just talking about with regards to the pick, the way the West is kind of wide open, like Kyrie Doncic tandem can easily make it to the Western Conference Finals, which
they can
would
make a run.
right,
They can make a run.
and that would just make the pick even much worse that we all
And
would
the thing
think.
about it is when I heard it, I immediately thought the Mavs are going to the NBA Finals.
I don't know about. I'll say I'll concede the Western Conference Finals at minimum because
You
that
have faith
level
in the
of
Denver
talent.
Nuggets going to the NBA Finals.
I'm not gonna say I have faith completely, but if they were talking about matchups, because there's still some question marks with the Mavs surrounding role players at this moment, which they're gonna probably make more moves. Like they're not done. They're
That's
for
the easy
sure
part,
not
though.
done. Yeah,
Getting stars is hard. Getting role
yeah,
players is easy.
right. And I will say the Denver Nuggets do look like a machine at this current moment, but
Right.
the playoffs is a different animal for sure.
Yeah.
And trying to like defend the basically probably two of the top 3 or 4 isolation players in the league over a 7 game series. Yeah, it's good luck. They basically replaced Brunson at that point with probably someone that may have like a more explosive ceiling just because he's bigger than Brunson at that point. But
Right.
they I'm gonna hedge my bets and just say Western Conference Finals at worst, barring injury. I don't
Okay.
know finals yet, and if it were to get to the finals, it would be an
The team I
interesting.
thought was the team I
Yeah,
thought equipped to beat them was the New Orleans Pelicans, but injuries have derailed their season.
completely.
Right. And so to think that the Pelicans can get it back on the rails without getting a true point guard is not likely. So
Yeah,
now you're
their
asking,
issue is
can the
yeah.
Sacramento Kings or the Utah Jazz beat the Dallas Mavericks?
I was gonna say maybe there's another level that the Warriors can get to because we've seen it before, but their role players have kind of been inconsistent. The
Yeah, now
injuries
their
has
role
caught up to
players.
them too.
Well, what I was gonna say to you is this, right? Because I knew that that's always the wild card, right? But here's the thing: I don't think the role players have been bad. As a matter of fact, I think their role players have been great. The role players led by their young guard Jordan Poole,
I
and Ty
consider him.
Jerome,
I consider him a
and
little bit above that. Like when I compare the role players, GP2
well, let me
meant
finish
a
my thought.
lot for them.
Let me finish the thing, and I'll tell
Okay,
you.
okay, yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah, I got you.
so the role so in my mind the role players led by Jordan Poole and others have been the gold standard of what you want your 9 stars to play like.
Right,
Where Golden State has been, they're falling down as they've been inconsistent with their star play. Like you don't get consistent Klay Thompson 40 points a game.
No.
And Draymond Green is Draymond one night, take 2 nights off, and then be Draymond again,
Right.
right? Steph
And
is
Wiggins has
Steph.
missed a
And,
ton of time. So is
yep,
Steph. Wiggins
yep,
missed a ton of
yep.
time.
And so that's the thing I was going to get at. You know what I'm saying? So just the fact that the Golden State Warriors are still in the conversation, in my mind, is solely based off those role players that they have playing, man, excellent NBA basketball, man. So ultimately, what I'm getting at is the Dallas Mavericks, I think, can ice skate to the NBA Finals. I don't see them winning a championship with just Luka and Kyrie, though. But I think
Right.
in terms of talent alone, I don't see another team with a 1-2 punch out west that can consistently give you with Luka what Luka and Kyrie. Man, if you double Luka at any point to
There's
leave
Kyrie
Kyrie
on this.
1-on-1, it's the worst case scenario for the Western Conference in my mind.
Right. Because you would legitimately need an effort with a host of two-way players like the Celtics did against the Nets last year. And
Right,
even then, the Celtics, even though they swept them, none of them were blowouts. Not one of those games were
right,
blowouts.
right, right. And so the point I'm getting at with the Dallas team is if you're like, well, oh my God, the Dallas traded away all their stuff. Now they don't have anything left. Now they have to go out and get role players to play beside Luka and Kyrie. So what? So what?
So what?
Yeah, so what?
It's that they're if we're talking just straight offensive talent, there's no one really that compares.
Right.
The only the only possible X factor or that throws a monkey wrench into this is from the top teams in the West at this current moment is if Murray decides to step up to another level in the
Yo,
playoffs, which he has before, but I don't know if he's at that Kyrie level.
but here's the thing. First of all, who is Jamal Murray? Right. When you're talking about Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, who is Jamal Murray? Right. And
He's not at that
secondly,
level. Yeah.
and then secondly, Jamal Murray has to stay healthy. It's the reason why I didn't even mention Paul George and Kawhi Leonard or Anthony Davis and LeBron.
I
They got
wanna
to show that they can even make it. Come on. I mean, come
I
on.
want I wanna like push back on that a little bit. Jamal Murray tore his ACL, and for the majority of the time before then, he was an Iron Man, and even now he tries to play back to backs, and his team literally says, "Yo, don't play,"
Sits them
and he's
out.
like,
Right.
"Yeah," and he wants to play. He just dropped 40. I think one of the his most recent game he dropped 40, and he wanted to play, and the team was like, "Yo, take it a break." Like he's a gamer. Like if it was up to him,
Right.
he'd play every single night, but his team is like trying his franchise is trying to try to make him ready for the long run because they're thinking finals themselves.
Right.
So they're trying to sit him out. But for certain guys, he's not at that caliber or level. But over a course of a 7 game series, if you have Jokic playing at a high level, you only need Murray to be near Kyrie's level for 2 or 3 games, not the whole 7.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
because we're speaking like role players. The Nuggets are kind of stacked with a ton of good to serviceable role players. They go about 10 deep.
Yeah,
And
they have they
outside of
have they have they have good they have good they have a good rotation of NBA players, quality NBA players, probably deeper than most teams, right?
mhm,
But in that scenario where say the Mavs are up 88-82 with like 10
ooh,
minutes left to go in the fourth quarter and you need guys to go get buckets,
you need to chase them.
all that role playing stuff is out the window.
Which is why
You know what I'm saying?
I will say that the Murray Jokic pick and roll is probably the most efficient combination in the NBA right now.
Right.
As
Right.
far as, but we have to get down to the point where at the end of games, and you need stops. You know what Luka's gonna do, and you know what Kyrie's gonna do. They're gonna force that switch and put Jokic on the island. You can't put Jokic on drop the entire time, and you know what they're gonna target. So at that point, Jokic is going to have to put on basically the key for the Denver Nuggets to win is to get big leads, 15, 10-point leads towards the last 5-6 minutes of games. Because coming from behind might be harder to do when you have an isolation threat like Luka and Kyrie on demand.
Hey, you know what though? I understand where you're going, but let me throw this at you.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Jokic thing is fantastic. We're not diminishing what Jokic has done as a player. He's a great NBA player, maybe the best in the league, right?
I still got
But
Giannis.
for one, the Denver Nuggets have never been to the NBA Finals ever,
Nope.
right? Two, they are notorious for being great in the regular season and fizzling out in the playoffs, right? Three, and one of the things that we have to consider is this. Kyrie Irving is now being coached by one of the greatest NBA point guards to ever play.
Right.
Right.
Ironically, his idol that forced his way out of the Nets to go to the Mavs, just like him.
Right. And now in these moments where these high level athletes, thinkers, players are in these moments and they look over at a dude that was just a lifelong staffer, worked his way. Like Tibbs is a lifelong staffer that worked his way up to the top, right? Tibbs is not Pat Riley, right? Where Pat Riley is a lifelong staffer that worked his way up to the top, but Tibbs also played. I mean, Riley also played at a blue blood at Kentucky, right? Pat Riley played at a blue blood, and then Pat Riley also played for the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And at point guard too, by the way, the combo guard, right? Tibbs is a lifelong staffer, like he know basketball, right? But he never been in that spot. He can only tell you based off experience. Tibbs is saying the textbook is telling me this. These guys are like, yo, I've been in this spot before. My feeling is my feeling is this. So, but anyway, yeah. So the Kyrie thing, I think the Kyrie and Luka thing, bro, is an excellent thing for them. I think it's going to impact our draft pick. You know, am I complaining about that part though, Dre? No.
I might move off that draft pick like as soon as possible, before it even gets to the point where we know where it's going to convey. Because at this point, if we're going to make a move or a marginal move, we might as well use that Mavs pick to trade for a role player.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I want to mention. As Knicks fans, sometimes I think we see the NBA landscape in a vacuum and never connect the dots. But at the same time, you know, we connect the X-File stuff. Like, oh, Damian Lillard is not happy in Portland. And then the X-Files music starts playing and Fox Mulder walks out and all this stuff. And we start talking about it's time to go get Dame. What I would strongly suggest is this. If the Knicks are gonna make a move, if the Knicks want to make a move, in my mind, should the Knicks make a move right now? I don't know.
Maybe a marginal move, but
yeah, I don't know.
The star isn't necessarily available for us,
right?
At least,
right.
If we were any other franchise, we might have looked at the Kyrie thing, but I think there's an unspoken agreement that we don't poach with the Nets. We don't really ever do deals with the Nets.
Yeah,
and that's kind of the same for
and they don't ever look to do stuff with us either.
And that's kind of spoken throughout all the franchises in the city for the most part.
Right. And then, well, you know what? I think somebody sent a super chat, and let me read the super chat real quick. Paris Duggar says, who is Luka and Kyrie guarding? Hey, Paris Duggar, I don't know, but what I will say is this. You're a Knicks fan that is hell-bent on defense, and it has gotten you nowhere. Right? A lot of Knicks fans, they hit my phone, DM me, get in the comments, and are like, man, what about the defense? What about the defense? And I constantly have to tell them, how far is your defensive mindset gotten you? And two, Luka Doncic before this year and Kyrie Irving this year played on top 10 NBA defenses. And mind you, Jalen Brunson and Luka played on a top 7 defense together. Two terrible defenders, two terrible individual defenders played on a top 7 NBA defense. Their defense was better than the Knicks defense, who went all out on defense. So the whole defensive thing is man, if you're just hell bent on just defense alone, man, then the team is never gonna win, ever, ever, ever.
Yeah.
And Paris Duggar says, "Hello, Leon isn't a move guy." No, Paris Duggar, that's not true either. Leon Rose does multiple moves on draft day, and up until this year, Leon Rose had done 2 trades before the deadline every year, and acquisitions after the trade deadline, and signing guys off the waiver wire. Leon Rose is a move guy. The thing about it is you have to understand that this team, where it is right now, and me and Dre were trying to get to it, but this team right now is in a different place. When Leon Rose took over, this team was in a certain place, so he had to make moves based on the relation of where that team to being a championship contender. Last year, he had to make certain moves in relation to this team being a championship contender. And now this year, with this team being better than the previous 2 years, he's got to make a move that based on where the Knicks are right now. So just because he didn't make a move in January doesn't mean he's not going to make a move, period. And if he doesn't make a move, it's not like the dude doesn't make moves. It's just the moves that he felt like should have been there aren't there. You won't see him. I in my mind, I don't think Leon. For one, let me be clear. Leon Rose is a wheeler and dealer, but Leon Rose is the dude on the quarter slots. Dre, you know how you go to the casino and you see the dude with a bucket full of quarters? He over there putting quarters in the quarter slots. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? The dude
He's trying to get bang for his buck. He's trying to get bang for his buck.
You know, that's Leon Rose. That's Leon Rose, because people forget we traded for Denzel Valentine and Solomon Hill. You forget those. You forget them names. Those guys were Knicks.
You forget we signed what's his name?
Damian Dotson. This organization.
Son.
yeah, man.
We re-signed Alfred Payton twice.
Right, people forget that. Yeah, man. This dude is a wheeler
we're
and dealer.
nickel and
He's just
dimers
not on a grand scale.
We're nickel and dimers. But I wanted to ask, do you think the market is slowly starting to reset itself with this Kyrie move, where it's people aren't asking for ridiculous amount? Well, Danny Ainge is still asking for unprotected firsts for Jared Vanderbilt, but besides Danny Ainge, I think the market is slowly starting to normalize and regulate itself.
Yeah.
And even though there are concerns with Kyrie because he's erratic, dramatic, as Clyde liked to say.
Yeah.
He's still an all NBA caliber player, even if it's a rental.
Yeah.
You don't just give up just one unprotected first 6 years out in the future. And like 2 role players, that's not usually, well, before July, when that Gobert trade, we weren't expecting to see something like that.
No.
As far as the value of a true star.
Right.
Depreciating to that point.
Right.
So maybe it's beneficial. It might not be beneficial for our pick going to the Mavs, but over the summer, it might be more beneficial towards us making a bigger move where we can get a little bit more bang for our buck, especially with the younger guys developing now, where we can just reserve a first round pick. God forbid, I don't want to trade IQ, but if we were to trade IQ, throwing IQ in a deal would immediately remove like a first round pick from a potential star type deal, you know? And and that would, it's almost like a domino effect. So if we can see Kyrie go for that sort of price, who knows what can happen in the future? Because I don't think whenever KD decides to get traded over the summer, he's not gonna go. If he goes for 4 first round, he might go for 4 first rounders like Gobert, but it won't be 5 or 6 like he's supposed to get if Gobert is going for 4. Compared to his actual talent and impact.
I don't. I don't think so. So the thing with Kevin Durant, just real quick, let me address the Paris Sucker thing. Just real quick, Paris Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution, man. We appreciate your contribution, brother. Paris Duggar says it's year 1 of assessments, but go ahead and dream. Yeah, you wrong again, Paris Duggar. Go ahead and take your afternoon nap. Paris Duggar, go ahead and get back on the couch, Paris Duggar, and go back to sleep. Because saying that this is year 1 of assessments is ridiculous. So for one, you as a Knicks fan assess every day, right? You assess every day, and to say a organization or a regime that has been in the front office for coming up to the end of 3 years, saying this is year 1 is not accurate. What we could say, if you're stating that this organization is taking their time in their championship rebuild and adding piece by piece, then that is valid, right? But just to say that this is year 1 is a weird narrative, bro. It's a very, very weird narrative. You know what I'm saying? I don't even want to speak to that. That's strange. It's beyond strange to say it's year 1 when you yourself go to bat defending these, kids and players and things of that sort, man. Just chill out, man. year 1. I mean, year 1. Yeah, come on, man. Rail Talk is in the building.
What's
Rail
up, Rail?
Talk, my guy, man. They won. Rail Talk from We Talk Mavs, man. The Mavs have appeared to want to win the trade deadline thus far by coming out of the gate swinging. Salute to them guys, man. They get Kyrie and Luka together, and that's a
Kyrie's
dream.
gonna
That's
be
a
there.
dream.
I don't know. Like Kyrie's gonna be there. I don't know if he's gonna play on Wednesday though, because the Nets are still trying to figure out the logistics for a three-way trade at this current moment. And
Right.
It looks like the Raptors might jump in, and they're trying to target either Pascal or Fred VanVleet, and try to move Spencer Dinwiddie to the Raptors.
But the
and
Mavs
give
are
up
still going
capital.
to get Kyrie though.
Oh yeah. They getting
The
Kyrie. That's a
principal
given.
part. Yeah, I saw the principal trade. I mean, I saw the principal parts. So the principal parts are gone, right? So even if a third team jumps in and somebody else gets moved, Kyrie is going to be a Maverick.
Right.
So the other parts, man, most of the NBA generally don't care about. You know what I'm saying? Unless Pascal winds up going to the Nets. And then Dre, how would that impact the Knicks? If Pascal goes to the Nets, does that mean the Knicks don't get OG Anunoby? Probably.
Don't or they do, because at that point it would probably be signifying that the Raptors might be blowing it up completely, like stripping it down.
Stripping it down completely.
Which
Yeah.
would be hard to do in the middle of a season because you would have to trade like multiple starters. But that's
And
the Raptors are looking to pair somebody with Scotty. That's what they want to do.
the thing is, but ultimately the thing is with them tearing it down in the middle of the season, Adam Silver had a mandate at the beginning of the season that these NBA teams better not tank. And if you thought teams were getting slaps on the wrist for tampering, bro, if this team tears it down during the season, trade away their worst players, and then goes on a losing streak, I can almost guarantee Adam Silver will start sniffing around. So you got to be careful about how you. So that's the reason why I'm not assuming that a team will do any or one thing or the other. What I will say though is that teams will make solid decisions going forward. Let me put it that way.
Right. So
Tucker said I can
you
split
have
a
to
dream between.
covertly tank at that point. You gotta have like terrible coaching decisions on a
But
quarterly
they
basis.
have Nick Nurse though. They have Nick Nurse.
And yeah, they have that in place.
So
So,
yeah. So
but I mean,
how are you
I
going to
will
tell
say
a
the
championship
big
level coach
yeah.
get,
To, to,
in order to in order for you to pull that off, then you got to fire Nick Nurse.
yeah, because he has a lot of Tibbs in him. Nick Nurse, that is,
Right.
where he will run his guys, and if he sees something working, he will run it into the ground.
Yeah, man.
I'm just trying to I'm trying to think who could the West is truly wide open.
Wide open,
It-
bro.
It's truly wide open, and
It's truly wide open.
to be absolutely honest, the Lakers don't necessarily look very good at this current moment. But in a playoff format, if you have AD and LeBron, you have a chance. I
Yep.
don't know if you recall, remember when they went against the Suns and they went up 2-1 and they were the lower seed by a lot? It was just
Yeah.
injuries that took them out of that series.
Right.
It was AD and LeBron got hurt at this almost at the same time, and that basically
Yep.
took them out of the series. When you have two
Yep.
guys that can control the pace of the game and they make you play at their pace, it's very hard to defeat them, which is basically why the Mavs are looking really dangerous.
The Mavs are looking like your Western Conference finalists, bro. I just can't see. I just can't. I can't see where. For instance, give you an example. I really like the Josh Green kid, right? And I also like the G League kid that they have, the young guard, combo guard out of the G League, from last year, Hardy.
Yeah, I
I
got
think
you.
that's his name.
Yeah,
And so for them to do a Kyrie deal and still not give up young players,
young players with high ceilings at that
yes,
point. Because real,
makes you think. Hmm?
yeah, because keeping it real, Dorian Finney-Smith has reached his ceiling as far as who he is as a player, and he's kind
Right.
of almost his athleticism is declining, so he can't legitimately guard twos and threes like that anymore. He's become more of a solid stationary defender, very good help defender, but in
Right.
isolation, he's been getting taken advantage of. So
And
it's we we'll see how it shakes out. I think
right.
Green 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 is a much needed infusion of youth into that starting lineup
And energy. Yeah,
and
man.
athleticism. So
Yes.
so in the times that they want to go for their ice slow down isolation play towards the end of games, but the first 3 quarters of the game where the game is in the balance and it's not as high leverage, guys like Green and Jaden Hardy can get up and down and get easy buckets
Right.
and relieve pressure. And then when it gets to winning time, I'm I'm not sure. I don't want to see I don't want to see no team with Kyrie and Luca in a 7 game series
No, no
going
team
back
wants to
and
see, not
forth.
even the Boston Celtics, bro.
It's almost. I don't know if you recall this, but you remember when the Cavs went all the way to the finals that one year, and they had a terrible defense, but it
Yeah.
because Kyrie and LeBron dictated the entire pace for the entire
Yeah.
playoffs. It didn't
Yeah.
matter what they did on defense because they would limit so many possessions and they would be so efficient in isolation. They would
Yeah.
force you to play their game, and you're not as good at their game as they are as their game
Yeah.
at their
And
game.
then yeah. And so that's what Dallas is going to look to do. Exactly what you just said, except extract LeBron, insert Luca.
Right.
That's exactly what I think they're going to do. And then plus defense only really matters when you're in winning time and you have to stop the other guy from getting buckets. Defense matters most in a close game and when you're behind, right? Because You have to stop them from scoring in order for you to catch up. But when you have a huge lead and they can't stop you offensively, your defense is along for the ride.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I know that sounds weird when I say it that way, but let me put it in a way where people can understand. When Steph Curry's three-pointer was going, when Steph and Clay was at their peak, like when Clay was 22 a game, when Steph was 30 a game, right?
Mhm.
And then you were getting contribution. Or even better, when you have Steph, Clay, and KD together, all scoring 22, 27, 29 a game, and you couldn't stop them. The defense only mattered when they met championship level teams, because most NBA teams can't stop an offense of Steph, Clay, and Kevin Durant. And so what I'm saying to you about the Dallas Mavericks with these new rules is, if you mess around and let them get a third wheel, just a guy, just let them, if they mess around and trade like a Hardaway something for like an OG Anunoby type guy, where you know you're going to get consistent 16 every night and not 9 one night, 27, 4 one night, 33. When you know you have a consistent third scorer, bro, this team would be dangerous. And the reason why I'm saying this about the Mavs is, I think they have some of those guys on their roster, but they couldn't get to them. They needed a bridge to them because
Right.
Luka is not that guy, right? But now that you have a Kyrie that can bring along like your Josh Greens and all of those type of guys, bro. And
Oh man.
with Kyrie being with, and I'm not saying that it's going to be your turn, my turn. What I'm saying is, when you can initiate offense without Luka, and Luka can just get wide open threes. All right, Dre, there it is. It's official. Did you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now you're talking about Luka Doncic getting wide open shots and things of that sort, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
might even think it. Not even just that. Like, imagine Luca attacking a closeout. What
Oh
are you
my
supposed to do?
God. Get out
What
of
are you
here.
supposed to
Do I
do?
have to imagine that, bro?
Like, what are you supposed to do if Luca's attacking a closeout with already an advantage? Like, I'm, I'm glad. I'm just glad the Knicks don't play them anymore this year,
Right. I'm just glad we don't play him no more, bro. I'm
because he
just
was
glad
already
we don't play
he
him no
was
more.
already giving us problems without a number two.
Without a number two, bro. The dude legit is giving us problems without a number two, and Kyrie was giving us problems without a legit number two, right? Bro, now we're talking. Now we're talking about, bro. It's crazy. So anyway, I think I did enough of the Mav stuff, bro. I want to get to
Right.
the Knicks
It's
stuff,
the
man.
Knicks. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about some Knicks, right? And so I'm away from my unit, so all the data, and I don't have my database here with me to look at
I can
certain
look up the
stuff. But
stuff for you if you need me to.
oh, okay. The first thing the first thing I would ask is this: if you are the Knicks, right? What position on the floor? Not random, not nebulous, not oblivion. What position specifically do we need to upgrade the most? And is it worth going out on the market and bringing in that guy to upgrade it?
Well, what we do definitely need the most is a rangy 3/4.
Wait, so
But
so so is it the small forward position?
yeah, or it could be a power forward. Just
It's,
anybody that can be switchable in that,
no,
like,
no,
between the range.
I'm asking
You're asking for
specifically,
like
like,
a specific, okay, small forward.
okay, so if you upgrade the small forward, what do you do with RJ?
In my opinion, I think Tibbs would probably start a jumbo lineup, and probably because he's the golden child, he's gonna start RJ at the two, and then probably have these short rotations where he brings Grimes in at like the 6 minute mark or something like that. In the first quarter, RJ is the first one
Okay,
to the bench, and then RJ gets back up towards the end of the first quarter, so he can run. run a bit with the second unit with IQ, and they basically make RJ run as like the second unit small forward, whereas we have,
Right.
but that would be reliant on Tibbs staggering his minutes, and sometimes Tibbs does not stagger his minutes correctly. Like
Right.
for instance, the game before RJ played the first 18 minutes of the game. That is not normal. You're not supposed to do that. He's kind of gets lost or sidetracked in his rotation, and sometimes it, like I know you mentioned like his assistant coaches give him suggestions. That's merely what they
Yeah.
do. They give him suggestions on substitutions. I don't think he necessarily listens. He just goes with how he feels on
I
given
think they
moment.
do. I think Bryant does the rotations, but Tibbs will overrule certain things, like the
Right,
king, like the president.
right.
I think it's more of that. I think they and they coaches in their coaches meeting they come out with a plan, and then Johnny Bryant executes on game day, and then if Tibbs gets into a certain thing, he'll go by his gut and just
Right,
like
right.
overrule some stuff. I understand where you're going. But in terms of what you say, so if small forward is the position to upgrade, it makes me think that small forward is the position to upgrade permanently and not just with a rental.
Oh, you want, yeah, to someone you can basically give 15, 16, 17 million dollars to, and that here, this is your position for the next 3, 4 years. Be a lockdown
Yeah,
defender. Get
because
the open three.
here's the thing. Do you really want to go after a rental that shakes up the chemistry of Grimes and RJ, and then that player is here for like 30 games and then is gone, and then the chemistry is
Hmm.
still shaking up between Grimes and RJ?
And then you don't really know what the minute distribution is coming into each game. It's just pretty
Yeah,
sporadic. And
yeah.
right. Mm. But then that would require giving up more than you might want to at this deadline, because a starter at the three compared to guys like Jared Vanderbilt, for instance, or Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley's really a two, but he can play some three. But like guys like that, they don't cost as much, but they may not be a long term situation, but they might
And
throw the rotation out of whack.
what's the and when you talk about Malik Beasley type guys, what's the long term and short term impact on the Knicks if you go get a Malik Beasley? Say you do Malik
So,
Beasley for quickly straight up, quickly for Beasley.
oh, that would immediately disrupt any sort of unison between the bench unit, because we would lose a point guard essentially. Well, while IQ isn't the best point guard, he's still a playmaker, and Malik Beasley only knows how to get his own shot.
Right.
That's it. So that would
Essentially,
immediately,
essentially the dudes are the same impact player.
right.
You know, defensive guys that can defend multiple positions, ones and twos, some threes. Malik Beasley is more of a twos and
He's
some
like,
small threes, third
yeah,
guard. You know what I'm
like
saying?
he's like a Gary Trent type guy, basically.
Yeah. Norm Powell type,
Right.
something like, But anyway, and then my thing is this. So if the Knicks need to do something, what is it that the Knicks need to do? Because Knicks fans are saying we need to do something, we need to do something, we need help. And then when you ask them, well, what kind of help do you need? Like it's like when you call 911, they ask because they already know you need help. 911 asks, what is your emergency? Right? This is what I'm trying to get Knicks fans to understand. Like, you want us to do something. What specifically do you want us to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? Like, what is the part of the equation that we need to fix? Right?
It, but when you ask, they give you 3 or 4 different things, and I'm just like, if we needed 3 or 4 different things, we'd probably be 20 games under 500.
Right. Right.
I
I,
think.
I
Go
I
ahead, go
would
ahead.
say I'm gonna say this is the thing I say helps every team. Right? Because if the question is oblivious or nebulous, right? If the question is nebulous instead of being esoteric, then what I would say then is fix the question, right? And how a lot of teams fix the question, how a lot of teams fix the question is going out and getting multi-dimensional players, 3-and-D guys. 3-and-D guys are the type of players that, regardless of what type of offense you run, regardless of what type of defense you run, regardless what your pace of play is, which is another thing, Dre, you and I really don't speak to because a lot of Knicks fans don't understand the impact of pace of play, right? Like, does your team take 84 shots a game? Do they take 96 shots a game? The difference is only 3 shots a game 3 shots per quarter per game, but that's a lot. And why is that pace impacted, right? Like, why are you a slow paced team? Well, for one, a lot of times when you have a slow paced team, you have a floor general, dominant ball handler, and by nature, they handle the ball a lot and probe and do all those type of things. Whereas teams generally with pace of play generally have 2 or 3 point guards. They usually have one good one, but they usually have a backup point guard that's almost as good as a starter, and then the third guy is almost as good as the second guy. You know what I'm saying?
And I was gonna say there's even more nuance to it, because pace can also mean that you have the dominant superstar, right? No matter who he is. Right. And there's a steep fall off in terms of skill sets between the other players on your roster. So you have to make up that talent deficit. Like, for instance, the Warriors have multiple stars. So in order for all of them to eat, they have to push the pace to maximize, because more possessions allows more talent to shine. And less possessions allows the superstar talent to shine the brightest in that game to overwhelm the other side.
Right. It's in my mind, it's spaghetti and meatballs. Right. You have like this giant meatball. That's the thing of the dish. Underneath, you got spaghetti. Spaghetti and sauce and all that stuff. The spaghetti and sauce and all that stuff is good too, but it's definitely not the big meatball you got. You know what I'm saying? And so when I say that, man, I say that to say this: the pace aspect of it. One of the things that you have to understand is, give an example of the spaghetti and meatballs theory. Memphis Grizzlies. Right. The Memphis Grizzlies, they have one great player. Right. One great player. We all know who that great player is. Mm-hmm. They have a second player that's really good, but he's often injured. Right. And then when he shows up, you don't know what you're gonna get. He's not really impactful. He's not a star, but he's a very he's a great player.
Good player. He's a very good player. Yeah. You talking about Desmond Bain? I'm not mistaken.
No, I'm talking about Jared Jackson.
Okay, because you could describe Desmond Bain almost the same way. He's often injured. Right. Very, very good player. But is he star level? No. Not yet. At least. Yeah, they're high end role players, basically.
So the Jared, so Paris Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggar says, remember my Play Evans super chat yesterday. Did I go live yesterday? I didn't go live yesterday, bro.
No, I don't believe so.
Yeah, I didn't go live yesterday. I didn't go live. What's today is Monday? Yeah, I didn't go live yesterday or. So Paris Duggar, was it Saturday night that you sent it? Was it if it was Saturday, I just don't remember. If send it again in a regular chat, man, and I'll read it. Send it again in a regular chat and I'll read it, bro. And I'm not, and the reason why I can't find it is because I'm away and my podcast setup is not the same. I'm just doing stuff remote, so
the Wi-Fi is a little bit iffy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Hardwell is in the building. What's good, Hardwell?
Salute to Hardwell.
Yeah, man. I keep forgetting, bro. I gotta send Hardwell this debate championship belt, man, bro. I keep forgetting. Hey, yo, it ain't. Yeah, yo, I'm just crazy, bro. I guess I think I'm losing it, man. But anyways, when we talk about stuff like pace of play and other things that impact the game, bro, we got a angry Knicks fan is in the building. Salute to one of the members of the channel. Salute to another one of the members, man. It's good to see y'all. Angry Knicks fan is in the building. Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely run it back. Paris Tucker says, y'all laugh when I said they need to leave Evan in the game. Dre laughed it off. Yo, hey man, hey, no lie. No lie. Hey, Dre, Dre can admit to this, man. Sometimes
I did. I probably did.
yeah, yo, no lie, man. Sometimes you right, sometimes you wrong. For the most part, you just want to give the truest information that's possible. Yellow fella is in the building. What's good, boss? You just want to give like,
I really laughed because of the last two times he was out there.
yeah,
He essentially got left out to dry too long in the fourth quarter, and it
yeah,
was kind of the reason why teams got hot from three because he made
yeah,
bad decisions.
yeah.
And I don't know if you
And
recall my bad, Freezy, but something that even pertains to that. You remember watching the game yesterday? JJ Redick
I
was
didn't see the
basically,
game yesterday. I was
oh,
on the road, so I didn't see it, and I didn't get a
okay,
chance to replay it either because I'm on the road.
okay. I'm gonna tell you something that was noticed that me and you noticed a long time ago. JJ Redick and RJ, uh, Richard Jefferson, they noticed that like they're confused why we're helping off the strong side.
Right.
They were confused why we continuously helped up the strong side
Off the strong side. Right.
every time a star
Right.
dribbled, and they were getting easy threes. And
Right.
we adjusted later on in the game, but it was something that we noticed about this team where we kind of, maybe it's something that Tibbs preaches, but we kind of overreact to the star player. We have a knee jerk reaction to the drive from anybody that's a star player and
Right.
even help
Hey,
off the strong side. Yeah,
I was just gonna say before we move too far along, I wanted to address the Fournier thing that you said about the decision making.
yeah.
I don't think Fournier's long term decision making is ever in question. I think he's a very high IQ player. I think his reactionary decision making is very questionable.
He
Right.
probably thinks it, but his body can't react to
Fast enough. Yes.
it.
Yes. You know what I'm saying, man. It's like um
He has physical limitations,
yeah,
basically.
it's like when people startle you. Like a lot of people don't walk around scared, right? But then when some jump out at you real quick, you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? You flinch in that moment because it's reactionary. But a lot of people just don't walk around scared. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right.
the thing I think with Fournier is like Fournier sees something, action's going so fast, and then he tries something, and then by the time he catches up to say this is bad, you can see him falling down, trying to not travel, and all this stuff at the same time. And
Slow
so
slow motion.
yeah,
Smoking
yeah.
Nick is in the chat. Salute to Smoking Nick.
The smoking Nick is in the chat. Hey man, and y'all, I can't open it up like I've been wanting to again because of the previously
I
stated
could
stuff.
I could drop it in the chat if you want me to. The
Now I know I'm saying no, I can
okay,
put it in.
okay,
I just can't
oh, okay,
manage stuff. What it'll do
okay.
is StreamYard will slow down too much for me, and
Oh,
that I won't
right,
be able to do stuff.
right. Got you.
So
There'll be too much
yeah,
going on at the same time.
again, I'm on a device and on Airbnb Wi-Fi, so you already know it's a combination for not good product. But anyway, if we're talking about what the Knicks should do as an organization at the trade deadline, based on the current market and the future, then I think we have to take a step back and decide on, well, where is it that we need help, right?
Hmm.
And in my mind, bro, I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it's two places. I
Shoot.
think you need a secondary ball handler playing with Brunson often, right? A secondary playmaker playing with Brunson often, and you need wing players off the bench. Now, here's the thing to that. You heard what I said, right? A secondary playmaker playing with Brunson often, and wing players off the bench, right?
Right.
Dre, do I have to do that in house, or should I go out on the market? Right?
It probably. Well, I don't see anybody on this roster that can do that as far as a wing. But
I
if
disagree,
only,
though. I disagree with that.
well, I was gonna say,
Here's why. Let me put
okay,
this out there, and then we get. All
right,
right. So I think you can fix what I just said by starting quickly over Grimes and Grimes to the bench, right? And then the two wing players, you'll have three wing players on your bench. Now you have Obi, Grimes, and Cam that are on your bench. Will Tibbs play them? I'm not sure. But as your second unit point guard, you could probably just play Derrick Rose.
you could probably play Derrick Rose, or you can stagger and have IQ and RJ run some together with the second unit. And before people like jump down my throat as far as being a distributor, when RJ looks bad, it looks really bad. But
Right.
if you recall the Heat game, he basically closed that game out by being the main playmaker and
Right.
distributor. And Randall was just in the corner waiting, and he
Right.
made the right decision more often than not. Now the inbounds
Right.
plays as something else, but the actual live
The
ball
inbounds plays
gameplay,
were terrible. The,
yeah,
the only the only inbounds play, just real quick, man. The only inbounds play I like that Tibbs ran is that fourth grade play that we all learned, picket fence. And basically, what
right,
picket fence is, for those that don't understand what it is four guys line up in a single line, right? They don't let a defender in between them. They're basically chest to back, squeezed up, right? And when the play starts, the guy in front of the line, in front of the out of bounds guy, runs to the back of the line. The dude in the back of the line runs around, and the two dudes that are in the middle, they screen first. One guy pops out for three, and the other guy threatens the rim. And what that does is it takes the defense from being like this to like this.
scatter.
Whereas now it's one of those things, no matter what defense you have drawn up, you can know picket fence is coming, but you can't stop it because of science. A defender can't be in two places at one time.
It's hard to react that fast unless you have the guy that's guarding the inbounds trying to like peek in on the picket fence and like not even
Right.
guarding the inbounds guy,
Yep.
which some
Yep. Now
teams
you're
do.
not. Yep. Yep. Now your quarterback has time to throw, basically.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? So
And it's
yeah.
it's it's this thing like I would love to see if RJ can be more of a consistent playmaker, but the
Right.
guy that you're describing, it's almost like we need a time machine. We need to trade for Andre Iguodala and put him in a time machine to like 2012
Right.
because he fits all of those things.
Or you can go get Josh Richardson. Or you can get
True.
a Alec Burks. Even though listen, Alec
I ship the
Burks is
sales.
water under the bridge. He's not coming back. Right. But if you can get that guy that Dre just mentioned, a decent athlete that can do multiple things and bridge the gap with several units, you know what I'm saying? Now you're talking. I think Josh Richardson is the play for the Knicks. That was my Dre. What I wanted to
I would
do
like Josh Richardson.
is
I would like him on the Knicks.
and yeah, and so what I was trying to do is bring like some clarity to the conversation so that we can advance the trade conversation, further and further along. Because I've watched a lot of people have the trade conversation, and the trade conversation has been as simple as fire Tibbs, Leon Rose is a doofus, Randall suck. Why y'all hating on Brunson? RJ need to be consistent. Listen, man.
No
Yo,
suggestions.
is this not the conversation we had during the summer?
the
Right,
exact
right.
conversation.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And so what I'm saying is instead of saying having the same conversation over and over and not advancing what it is, not layering the conversation or bringing something new to advance it, then why keep talking about the same stuff over and over and over? But Paris Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggar says, saying that stuff gets no cred after last night, and Paris Duggar is referring to Evan Fournier's night last night.
I would say I'm more impressed with Deuce McBride's night than Evan Fournier.
Dre, he's coming along, right?
Right, he's slowly starting to figure out. He's getting the confidence in the shot.
Yeah, he's coming along. He's coming along, bro. I'm saying by about game 60, and we said it first, right? We said it on this channel first that Tibbs is developing the young guys. He's playing a whole bunch of young guys, man. And what's happening is I think people are not giving Tom Thibodeau credit for trying to win and develop at the same time. And sometimes the young guys don't make winning plays and the Knicks lose the game. You can't blame Tibbs because he's trying to win and develop, win and all this at the same time. This is how you develop a championship culture. Because before, Jay Singh is in the building. What's good, man? But Dre, before the Lakers won with Kobe and Shaq, you remember they had Nick Van Exel, Eddie Jones, and Corey Blunt, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before that, the Lakers were terrible.
Right.
Anybody remember the pre Nick Van Exel Lakers with Sedale 3 in them after Magic retired?
Was it Cedric? Oh, okay. I was gonna say Cedric Ceballos was on the team, but
he was in Phoenix. Him and Richard Dumas were in Phoenix
at that time. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up Cedric Ceballos. The template that I'm giving you, right, for how the Knicks can be successful is the 93 Phoenix Suns.
Building around a all NBA power forward.
Yeah, a great. Think about this: great point guard, right? Great power forward and wing players all over the place. And all your center has to do is play defense. It's the 93 Phoenix Suns template. So for everybody, if
their wing players relative to that time were great shooters too. My bad, Freeze.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I was gonna say relative for that time that they had great wing shooters.
Yeah.
For that time, relative to that time, they were all
great switchable defenders. And right. Cedric Ceballos and Richard Dumas and Dan Marley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is the example, right? If Obi was the guy in New York, what my example would be different on how to build the team. If Obi was the starting power forward for the Knicks, I would say go get the same wing players, but the point guard had to be different. The point guard would have because with Obi you get a different dynamic defensively. You don't get a big, strong physical presence inside, a high level rebounder. You get an athletic power forward that can jump. You go out and get you a very strong, stout, athletic point guard that may not be able to score, but is a switchable defender that can defend 1 through 3, and in today's NBA 1 through 4, right? A great defender and a guy that can knock down a 3.
And run pick and roll. And you notice I wanted to say something about Obi. We saw Obi run a few pick and rolls, like him actually rolling, and the threat of him rolling caused the Sixers to shift way too much and opened up an open 3 for Deuce, right. Like a timely 3. I'll show you a clip of it when we get off of here, but just the threat of Obi rolling, it sent the Sixers help defense into a panic and just let a shooter wide open by himself. And on the backside, it was a screen from Hartenstein that freed up Deuce, which is odd because we basically ran a pick and roll with Obi and Fournier and got like a wide open corner 3 from it, just from that look.
Right. Just the threat, bro. It's crazy.
Just having athletic guys moving in space, just the threat of that makes teams overreact. Because if one thing Obi can do, he can jump really high. So
Right.
him moving and just being the threat to go to the rim will cause a breakdown. And if it doesn't, then you just start, which is why teams run multiple pick and rolls in the same play
Right.
sometimes.
Right. Right. No doubt. No doubt. I would say so with that said, what do the Knicks really need at the trade deadline?
A secondary ball handler and a wing. Yep.
Yeah.
A
Or
switchable
two.
wing. Or two,
Or
for sure.
two. Yeah.
It's
Or two. Preferably in
but which
that
one do you
six
think is
seven, 6'8",
prioritized
6'9"
more?
range.
Which one do you think is prioritized more? The switchable wing defender or the secondary ball handler? Which one do you think is needed more?
Um, that's a good question. And so what I would say is in terms of the secondary wing thing, um,
Mm,
um, I don't know, man. It's I don't know. Because here's the reason why I don't know for sure. Because the wings, we need those guys because clearly at the end of games and during games when scorers get hot, bro, they we need a guy to go out there and
to
stop
put
these
out the
Lukas,
fire,
Pascal Siakams.
to put the
You know what I'm
fire out,
saying? Yeah.
because
Exactly.
because
But
like I was gonna
at the
say,
same
because not
time,
even the Lucas, the Drew Holidays just get hot.
the Pablo Banqueros, bro, the Kyle Kuzmas, bro,
And
the
there's nothing we can do
man.
unless we outscore them. That's about it.
See, I would say that, but what I would also say, a secondary, almost primary ball handler, I think turns Jalen Brunson from 22 a game to like 24 a game, and Julius Randle gets open looks.
Hmm.
And the thing about all stars don't often get open looks because they're game planned for.
The sad part about this, Freezy, the guy that you're describing is someone we want RJ to be.
Yeah.
Well, we drafted
Yes.
him to be that, actually.
Right. Right. And he will be that one day, but he is not that right now.
Yeah, not right now. Maybe his age 25 season. That
Yeah.
when he
But that would be
all has it all
Randall's age
together.
31 season.
And Randall probably be on another team.
Yeah.
So it's
And
mm,
yeah, man. Paris
it's
Douglas, thank you for
hard.
the generous contribution. Paris Douglas says needs Tibbs gone and a coaching that tutors in games. I would Miss Geraldine, thank you very much for coming out, hanging out with us, Miss Geraldine, another one of the members hanging out with us. Um the Tibbs part is maybe accurate. I like Tibbs. I don't grade him well for last season or this season. The development thing, I'm giving him kudos for the development aspect of it. The roster manipulation part, though, of course, I don't see everything, but but I would say this: a different coach probably gets a different result with this same roster.
I'm inclined to agree. It's Tibbs actually develops players. It's just the management after after the management of the players after it's kind of iffy.
Right?
And the trade call is complete with the Kyrie deal.
Yeah.
It's just a two-way trade. That's it.
Yeah. I saw. I
No
saw it.
no three-way.
Yeah.
So it's
I,
it's hard to like completely give full-on talent evaluation when you don't necessarily see the talent do things that we think they can do already. We kind of see them
Right.
pinned down into doing specific things. And sometimes the talent shines at the things that Tibbs traps them into doing. Like, for instance, it took Hartenstein around 60 games to figure out how to rebound very well.
Right. Right.
He grabbed 15 boards last night. 15.
Yeah, he was hurt though. Hartenstein had
He
an
was hurt.
ACL injury he was playing through.
I think no, no, it was an Achilles, I believe. I
Achilles.
think,
Was it Achilles? Yeah. So,
yeah,
so
it was an
Hartenstein
Achilles, I
wasn't
believe.
100% out of training camp.
Right,
Yeah.
but
So yeah.
he
So
looks he
the
looks a
thing
bit
is
more
Hart.
spry.
Yeah. That's why they were patient with him. And the only reason why they didn't sit him is because they didn't have a Taj. I think if they had a Taj Gibson and Jericho Sims, they could have attempted to play. I think they would have just sat Hartenstein and he'd have been healthy after say 40 games.
Right.
But you know, yeah, man. But I'm gonna also say this though. Um, I like the way that Tibbs developed Jericho Sims. I think Jericho has the potential to be our Taj Gibson going forward. I don't know if he is a starting center in the NBA. I do think he can start in spurts. But with that said, any deal that we do at the trade deadline, I don't want to see a Jericho Sims in it, unless it's one of those big deals.
Right,
I
even
don't want to see
sooner at
Jericho
that point.
Sims or Miles McBride in one of those hand washing trades. You know the hand washing trade where it's like Gary Trent for Norm Powell,
Oh,
where
it's just
teams just
like
wash the
filler.
hands of the player.
It's just filler, and like, we'll take this guy. You can have
Yeah,
this, whatever. So throw in a little mini contract to make the money work on the margins.
yeah. Ultimately, as the season goes along, I've been doing a deep dive into the analytics aspect of it, and I'm not going to analytic this chat to death, but I think we are practically a Ish Smith type player away from being a real power in the NBA because of his pick and roll defense and the veteran leadership that he brings. Right now, in terms of what we want a impact player that comes in, and we don't care about the minutia. We just care about winning and that player scoring 20 points a game. Adam is in the building. What's good, Adam?
So, but you also, like, people want to think about that, but there's also a process to these things.
Right. There's
And and
also a
if
process, bro.
and if you don't do the process, you're not going to maximize whatever you see in a guy like Deuce or a guy like Grimes or a guy
Right.
like Sims. Like, like in the short term, it probably would, if we were trying to like get to the second round this year, maybe doing the move would be the right thing. But in the
Right.
long term, for buffering the value of specific players on this team to the point where you don't have to give up everything to get a
Right.
desired player, it's probably best we just play it out and let these guys grow because we're seeing the growth in real
Right.
time.
Right. I would say, Dre, and I would also say this. This is what I wanted to throw out there too. And I know this is going to sound egregious, but if I'm the Knicks and teams are calling and they want to know what true value is for, say, an Obi or a Quickly, I'm letting them know right off rap, that the asking price for Obi is 2 first-round picks. The asking price for Quickly is 2 first-round picks, right? And I'm choosing which package I want. Now, will that shy teams away?
Probably.
Probably. They'll probably laugh. But the dudes that are the people that really want, I mean, because Jared Vanderbilt for unprotected first is the most ridiculous thing you ever heard of in your life.
That
With
that blew my
a
mind when
backup
I heard
missile
that.
player off the, what do I need with 8 and 6 off the bench? I got
not
Jericho Sims.
if he can shoot, maybe, but he can't shoot. So
He
what
can't
is the
shoot. Right, right. And he hasn't proven in his career that he can be featured and play for a winner.
right? He's been
Also,
proven to be expendable at this point.
right. At every
Multiple times.
turn.
Right.
At every turn. And so that my other thing too is this. If you're the Knicks and you're looking to go get a guy, if you're the Knicks and you're looking to go get a guy, the guy that you go get better be a guy that impacts winning and that we like, right?
Mhm.
Because right now we know OG Anunoby is a guy that impacts winning and a guy that we like, and I'm talking about we as a fan base, not we as Uncle Freezy and
Okay.
Dre, right? Right. I'm talking about us as a fan base, right? Because if you go get a guy that comes in, if you go get King Poppy's in the building, if you go get a guy that we don't like and then we start losing,
Oh,
you
if the fans don't like him, we will like make a player turn into a shell of themselves,
yep,
like Dennis Smith Jr. So
yep,
so what happened to Dennis Smith Jr. Unfortunately, but the fans turned on
yep.
him, and he never was the
And
same.
it's what's happening to Cam Reddish right now in front of our eyes.
Mm.
Fans don't care. The longer Cam goes without playing and this team is winning, the more people are going to turn on Cam Reddish. Ultimately, the team wants to win, so you got to man. Listen, you got to win the contest, bro. You got to win the game. You got to win the press conference. You got to win the All-Star vote to play. If you're gonna rock the apple cart now, think about it. Say for instance, the Knicks go out and get a starting two guard.
All right.
Right? That's for instance, say if the Knicks trade something for Spencer Dinwiddie, right? To me, and I don't like him. Y'all know I hate Spencer Dinwiddie, right? Dre, you ain't been here long enough to know. Bro, every show I used to just start off talking trash about Spencer Dinwiddie, bro.
Because he would go out his
How
way to
much I hate him.
talk about the Knicks for no reason other than like trying to
Yes.
be a troll and
Right.
attention seeking. And he's gonna do it
Right.
again. As soon as he gets back
Yeah.
in the city, he's gonna do it again.
But if the Knicks were to trade, say, if the Knicks were to do a protected first and say salary match for and I know they won't, right? But say a protected first and something to say KD wants Derrick Rose and Fournier to help out with the ball handling responsibilities and scoring. And so we get them a protected first for those two. And Dinwiddie's here. Right? To me, that's ideal because Dinwiddie is still the third or fourth option. Definitely the second point guard, starting at the two. And here's the thing: can defend guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", right?
Mhm.
And I know he doesn't stay healthy, right? And I'm not saying go get Dinwiddie. I'm just using him as I can hear the chat now, like, oh, Uncle Freezy said he want Dinwiddie. No, I didn't say I wanted Dinwiddie. Y'all know I don't like. If you've been around long enough, you know I hate Dinwiddie. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is a player of that type, but Dinwiddie is the example.
Mhm.
You go out and get a Dinwiddie. What happens is when Jalen Brunson goes to the bench, you can play IQ and Dinwiddie together.
And they'll play tit for tat.
And yeah, and then when RJ goes to the bench, you can play Brunson, Grimes, and Dinwiddie together. When RJ goes to the bench, you can play. Bro, it's like it's like the piece that you threw away in your puzzle, and now you're trying to get the corner set, and you look way over there. You're like, there's the piece right there. Okay, it's a perfect
So we
fit.
missed the whole time. Can I respond to someone I respond to Paris Duggar. He said, not true oppressive coaching can hurt any player. You see Tyrese Maxey is benched. Tyrese Maxey is not benched. He volunteered to go to the bench after
He
his injury.
volunteered, yeah. Yeah.
He told because the coach was going to start him and make him play 35 minutes regardless. He
Mhm.
decided I want to go to the bench, and he's thriving in that role at this current
Yeah.
moment. He just didn't
Yeah.
play well against us, but
Yeah.
games before he was playing well.
Yeah. And Maxi
He's in an IQ
is
role
like the
at that point.
guy. Maxi can be the fourth wheel, third or fourth wheel in a starting five, or the number one guy
Right.
off the bench.
Right.
Is out there. Tobias Harris, James Harden, all of these guys, right? But then on the bench unit, he's the man. He get to run his own unit. And then during the game, he'll play with Harden some, but it is what it is. But in terms of us though, in terms of us, I think a Spencer Dinwiddie type of player. I'm not talking about Spencer Dinwiddie specifically, but a big guard that can play point that ultimately starts offset Brunson, where you won't see Julius Randle making them dumbass mistakes at the end of games. Like when you have Brunson and another playmaker.
And
Now
Brunson can take
Randall is
plays
not.
off too. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Paris Douglas,
Yeah, man.
stop. Statistically, the Sixers are better with Maxey in the starting lineup on defense.
Yeah.
Look at the defensive rating compared to Melton. He chose to come off the bench. He
He chose to
said
come off the bench, bro.
he explicitly told the coach because when he first came off the injury, he started and he actually played well. And then he told the coach, "Whatever you need, I can come off the bench." And he said, and that probably suited him better because Harden is a heliocentric player. So is Embiid. And so when he
Right.
comes off the bench, he can focus on getting his at that moment.
Right. Right.
It has nothing to do with minutes or anything like that. He chose to come off the bench. But
Yeah, man.
like a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie would be useful. But like Greg Castillo did say, statistically he's fallen off a cliff defensively, at least this year. Before he was a bit better in prior years, but this year he
Right.
hasn't been very great on defense as far as
Yeah.
point of attack
What I'm gonna say to that is throw Dallas's defense this year out of the window,
okay,
right? Because Dallas's defense has taken a hit this year
right.
versus last year, and so
And
it's just
and
not just him. It's Dorian Finney-Smith, who was a great defender,
he was hurt.
right? It's all those guys. It's all those guys.
Maxi Kleber was their best rim protector, and he was hurt. He was a plus defender as well, and he's been hurt
Right.
for a long time.
Right. Yeah. So their defensive ratings this year. I'm just gonna. Hey Adam, I can't put the link in, bro. I don't know if you heard, but I'm doing this from my phone. I'm doing this from my phone, so I have to limit the number of people in the chat, man. I gotta just, what I'm saying, rock like this because I can't do it from my laptop. I'm doing it from. It's a lot of technical stuff. What I'm saying. I just can't do it. What I'm saying. And you'll see why. You'll see why tomorrow. What I'm saying. You'll see what I'm talking about tomorrow when we rock. So, um, but shout out to Adam though,
So that's Adam.
and Greeny. The Knicks fans are taking over. Knicks fans are taking over Central Florida.
I mean, Knicks fans take over everywhere they go. Be absolutely
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. Um, um, ultimately, the Spencer Dinwiddie name is Spencer Dinwiddie's name um is an example. And I would say Dinwiddie here would be a better defender in our defense than he was in Dallas in their defense.
Right.
I'm just putting it that way. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Tibbs, for as much flack we give Tibbs, he kind of knows how to field a solid defense, regardless of injuries.
Yeah.
Even though we've kind of fell back, we're still I think we're hovering above middle of the pack. Like we'll never be a completely terrible defense. Number two.
Well, and part of that too. Part of that too is last year's defense had veterans everywhere, right? This year, and I know RJ and quickly played last year, but what I'm saying ultimately is last year, you had for the most part, you had veterans all over the place. This year, you have young guys all over the place, and um it's not a step back like Tom Thibodeau forgot how to teach defense, right? It's not a step back like Mitchell Robinson forgot how to play basketball. It's when you have new guys to the rotation and they're young, you take that step back in learning to take a step forward in development. And
Yeah,
that's all it is. We just have young guys that are taking on different roles, and it's just taking us some time just to get adjusted to what it is that we want to do as a team, and to think that just throw those guys in there, they're professionals. No, it don't work like that, man. NBA players need time to get better.
right.
And it has RJ's defense taking a step back. Yes,
Yeah,
that might be a contributor. But RJ hadn't played 500 games yet. So
right.
RJ2 is still a young player. You know what I'm saying? You want to give cut RJ some slack too.
If we
You
if
know what I'm
we're
saying?
if
So
we're
ultimately the team will be good.
like if we think RJ's gonna last as long as we think he might in the league, this this is sample size is gonna be a tiny. It's gonna be a blip on his entire career because it's gonna look like he's gonna be in the league 15, 16 years just because at
Yeah.
this point
For one he's durable. He doesn't get um
doesn't
um
get hurt. He gets sick though.
yeah. I'm looking for like RJ's built like a tank, so he doesn't get like those soft
He's not
tissue injuries
he's not
or
high flying either, so
yeah,
he's grounded.
yeah,
He's a train. He's an Amtrak. He's not a plane.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's just a freight train. That's what it is. You have
Yeah.
to call it what it is. Yeah, man.
So
So
like
it's
I feel like if I've seen him play defense at an adequate to above average level before, is I don't believe that it'll be the last of him ever getting back to that level. He's
okay.
pretty bad right now, in my opinion. But it also
Okay.
feels like he might have too much weight on him, and it'll be a
Okay.
process, like how Mitch had his process where he put too much muscle on. It'll be a process
Right.
over a year or two for him
Right.
to basically streamline everything and be more efficient with his body.
Developing his body. That's part of
Right,
development.
right, and
But Dre, let me
yeah,
ask you this. Let me get back to the trade deadline stuff instead of the development stuff.
right.
Do you see a team in our division or a team in our above us in the standings making a impactful trade that may
Let me
be to
look
the
at the
detriment
standings.
of the Knicks?
Let me look at the standings real quick. Freezy.
Yep.
Okay, who's ahead of us? Okay, the Miami Heat are ahead of us. The Cavs, the Nets, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Celtics. So I'm going to eliminate the Celtics and the Bucks because they are who they are at this point. The Sixers, I don't believe they're gonna make any move. They kind of feel confident in their unit. They've been on fire before they ran into us. The
Right.
Nets, they traded Kyrie, and it looks like they're trying to pivot to try to build a win right this year type team
Right.
because they
Right.
don't know. Because from the looks of it, Katie hasn't demanded a trade out, so it might be up to them. The Cavs
Right.
have been looking for a starting small forward for the entire season. So they might, and them and the Heat are two teams that are like browsing and trying to feel a way around trying to get someone that's starting caliber and their starting lineup. Like they want like for both of them. The Cavs want someone at the 3, and the Heat want a true power forward
Okay.
or to replace what PJ Tucker had left open, that gaping hole, which
Right.
which is why they've been linked to Jay Crowder, for instance.
Okay.
They want a 3-4. Both of those teams want a 3-ish 4. And I think I read that Kevin Love might be on the trading block. So uh, he makes a ton of money though. So who knows?
Right.
But as far as the teams that are currently ahead of us, that 5-6 slot, the
Right.
Heat, the Heat, the Heat might be interested in, and the Hawks are right behind us, a game and a half back, and the
Right.
Bulls might be making a move. The Wizards and the Pacers, I'm not even thinking about them. They're kind of stuck as is, but it's really the Cavs, Heat, Hawks, and maybe the Bulls that might make a move, and those are the teams that are directly that were sandwiched in between. The
Okay.
Cavaliers are in the 5 spot, and they're right. They're like a half game behind the Nets, who are in the 4. The Nets might drop depending on how they mesh with Dinwiddie and the newer pieces. Technically, on paper, they might be better than what they were
Okay.
before Kyrie, but Kyrie's impact is not to be understated at all.
Okay.
So I don't know if it'll
Okay.
work. And I haven't seen KD win on his own ever.
Ever.
So
Yeah.
they might fall down to the 6, 7, 8. They might be a playing team, for all we know.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna say I agree with most of that. I do think though, um the Cavs upgrading their small forward position is maybe more media stuff.
Hmm.
I've been watching the Cavs content creator,
Mhm.
and and there has been one point during the season that Isaac Okoro was shooting 50% from 3 and providing lockdown defense.
But the volume,
Yeah, on four point something threes a game.
really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's those hidden things. Like if you don't watch other team,
Because I
and
do know,
I'm
because
not saying that,
I watched some, and I do know that Karis LeVert has been struggling. They were trying to like offload him. Karis LeVert has been pretty up and down for
yeah,
them.
he's just not a fit for them.
Right.
Right. Yeah, because they already have 2 ball dominant guards, and Karis LeVert is a ball dominant
Yeah, he
jumbo
needs
guard.
usage. He needs usage. He needs higher usage to be.
Right.
He's a high volume guy, basically.
Would you be interested in the Karis LeVert deal?
Would I do a Karis LeVert deal? What would we be giving up? We would be
Yeah.
giving him Cam for Karis LeVert and filler, like maybe give them Derrick Rose or something like that,
Right.
because that would make the money work at least. Would you do that?
No.
Yeah, because he
And I don't think
While
so.
Karis LeVert is like 6'7", I believe,
Yeah.
he isn't necessarily a great defender or even a good one. He is a body,
Right.
and a lot of his defensive issues get swallowed up
Yeah.
whole because they have the two twin towers back there that are athletic 7-footers with long wingspans, which is why they have the number 1 ranked defense in
Oh,
the NBA.
yeah. Okoro is a great defender, bro.
Yeah.
Okoro
Okay.
is defending everybody 1 through 5 at 6'5", 225. Right. The only thing that makes Isaac Okoro not an appealing piece is that he doesn't have measurable that you would like for a guy that's undersized for his position, right? Like he doesn't have super long arms, right? And he doesn't have blazing fast speed, though he's cat quick in space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But he's not Anthony Edwards fast in the front in the open court,
Right.
right? Can he jump out the gym? Yes.
Yeah.
Is he an elite defender? Yeah. Hey, and is his offense coming along? His handles are getting better every day. The only thing about it is he's so raw that people see like the one thing that he does great and think that's him.
Yeah, you
Would
see the
I even
highlights.
listen?
But
Would I?
I said you see the highlights. You hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I got you. I got you. What I would say is, would I take a chance on if I'm the Knicks? Would I take a chance on the Isaac Okoro? Yes, because the arrow is pointing up, but it's a slow arrow. It's a slow burn. It's a Grimes Deuce McBride type burn. It's not an
Mm,
Anthony Edwards burn. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Um,
And the way he's trending, it's going to be a defined role where he may not end
yeah.
up making $20 million a year, but he's going to get 10 to 15
Well,
and do what he
in this
does.
new era of money
Well,
now,
that 10 to
I don't
15
know.
is going to be 18 to 20. So, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. What I would do, Jalen McDaniels, like Gregory Castillo said, I think is intriguing. Also, I would say be aware of Charlotte. I think Charlotte is going to dump a lot of guys, and if you're my thing is, if you're Tibbs though, right? Do you think if we make a move, is Tom Thibodeau going to play a guy?
Oh, that is a big question mark.
Are we basically trading DSJ? Basically, are we trading DSJ for Cam for Jalen McDaniels? I had the
Oh,
conversation earlier, and the dude I was talking to was like,
but
"Don't you mean Kevin Knox?" No, idiot. We drafted Kevin Knox. But
I
I'm saying
feel
like
like I
we
feel
didn't
like
have to go out and get Kevin Knox. We already had him.
right. The thing is about Jalen McDaniels, he's at least high motor, which is the bare minimum for Tibbs. If you're not
Right.
high motor, you're not going to play.
But he's a young, mistake prone player.
Absolutely.
And
And
it's
he's
and it
but the thing is, Tibbs has like a relationship with the coach for Charlotte right now. I
yeah.
forgot his name. So if he were to come here, that coach would probably put in a good word for him.
That's his best friend. I can't remember his name, but that's his best friend. People think Van Gundy's his best friend. It's not. It's actually the coach from the Hornets.
I'm about to
Um.
tell you his name.
Oh, jeez.
Steve Clifford.
Yes, from Orlando. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
they're
And,
they're
and
all, they're
you
all very similar.
and if you were, it's ironic. If you look at how Orlando is built with all those young wings that they were drafting under Steve Clifford, and then look at Charlotte.
It's like Orlando tried it with Steve Clifford.
Yeah,
The Steve Clifford era in Orlando almost similarly mirrors ours,
yep.
except they decided to, I guess, get rid of the coach and get rid of their starting center slash power forward.
Everything. Yep.
Yeah. So like they're in that situation where we were a few years ago, where we're probably a late seed team, like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in
Right.
there. They had a multiple time All Star, and they had a bunch. They had Evan Fournier on that team, by the way.
Yep.
They had a
And
they had a
Terrence
bunch
Ross.
they had a bunch of guys on some team friendly deals that were movable
Yep.
ultimately,
Yep.
and they decided, you know what, we should just blow it
This
up
is
and
going
just
nowhere. We need to just start all over.
and they got a young player for Vucevic, uh, Wendell Carter,
Yep.
and those two picks, which turned into that 6'10" wing they have.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, and we'll see what this next pick is, but they lucked up and they drafted someone that might be a generational talent. So we'll see.
Are
Paolo.
you talking about Franz Wagner?
No, I'm talking about Paolo. But
Paulo
Franz
Banchero?
Wagner is, yeah, he might be generational. He might. He
Bro,
reminds
he
me of
played
like a bigger Paul Pierce, a bigger, more athletic Paul Pierce.
Paul Pierce.
Yes.
I'm going to say he reminds me right now at this very moment of a very young AK-47. And I know people forget about that. And people are like, oh, you're just saying that because he's white. Nah, bro. This dude is sneaky athletic. He will yam on you. Ultimately, though he showcases a lot of offensive skills, like a wide array of offense, none of them are
Hmm.
great. But I'm saying in terms of baseline, everything in y'all, he does everything. He does everything adequately, right? Ultimately, the thing that he might use the least, it may be his best asset, and that's his defense, right? You remember
Yeah,
when he guarded RJ, he was on RJ like a coat, bro. I swear.
Arda couldn't do nothing, nothing at all,
Right, right, and we're
and
gonna
it's
see
just
that
like,
again tomorrow night, I think. Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah,
seeing those types of talents up close. It really lets you like realize how big these guys are. Because like I see RJ in person, I'm like RJ is gigantic. Then I see RJ next to Jason Tatum, and I'm just like, this doesn't even process in my mind the things that Jason Tatum does at 6'9", 6'10" for
right,
his size.
bro. Like with sneakers on, when sneakers on, me and RJ Barrett are the same size. Like you know what I'm saying? Like when I
Right.
go see RJ, I'm like, me and RJ and I are the same, about the same height. You know, but RJ Barrett is big, bro. RJ,
He's
RJ,
cut. He's not cut
yes,
up, but he's like big muscles. Like if he was, it's like almost he was like a 6'7" linebacker or something. Like
right. Like when I saw um my man also played small forward at Duke. The dude from the Pelicans,
Zion,
Brandon Ingram.
Brandon
When I
Ingram,
saw
Brandon
Brandon,
Ingram.
when I saw Brandon Ingram, I was like, this dude is nothing. This dude is Dr. J size. This dude is a whisper. You know, but when I saw RJ, I was like, wow, this. Like when I saw Grimes, I was like, yeah, Grimes is a linebacker, bro. You know what I'm saying? Grimes has size to him, man. Hey, Paris
He
Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggar says, we're a Brunson and RJ passing first away from the fifth seed. And I agree. It goes back to the playmaking thing that we mentioned that we were talking about. Like if the Knicks had a secondary playmaker, somebody that could. So I agree with you, Paris Duggan. The organic fanatics is in the building. What's good? Hey Dre, real quick, man, before I get out of here, man.
got you.
Um, before I get out of here, it's Monday night.
Right.
The deadline is a few days away.
Slowly approaching.
If you don't mind, share with me your prediction on what the Knicks are gonna do. Like what they're gonna tell me what they're gonna do. You don't have to tell me what player.
A
Just tell
specific
me what
player.
direction you think the Knicks are gonna go in. Are they gonna be active? Are they not?
I
And if
think they're
so,
gonna be
how?
active. I think they're gonna be active, just not in the big way that we want them to be, as far as picking a definitive long-term direction. I think they're gonna make a marginal move for someone like a Josh Richardson to come in
Okay.
here and guard twos, and threes, and play make a little
Right.
bit and space the floor a little bit. I don't believe they're
Right.
gonna give up anything more than like Cam Reddish and a second rounder, basically,
Okay.
to get it done.
Okay. All right. I'm
I
gonna
think
let
I
you know
think we're
what.
gonna make a marginal move though. But that's about it. I don't think we're gonna make a big
Um,
move. Just a marginal one.
my prediction is this. I am with you on the marginal move, and I think the Knicks' stance at this very moment, with about 3 or 4 days left to go in the trade deadline, is I think they're resistant to change. I think they don't want to make a move. The only move that they have in the fore of their mind is getting Cam Reddish off this roster.
Right.
I think that's the only move. And I think they want to do your marginal move by using Cam Reddish. But if they can't, then what they'll do is trade Cam Reddish for a second or a couple of seconds and add Daquan Jeffries to the roster, give him a 1 year
Right.
deal, which is
I forgot
prorated for the rest of the season.
is he in the G League or he's on the 2A or
I think he's on a 2 way.
oh, and he hasn't played any games this year, so he can basically play the rest of the season out
Right,
without
right.
having to worry about it.
I think they may be watching the Warriors for the Ty Jerome and what's the other guy named? The other guy they have on a two-way. Shoot. Basically the Warriors have two-way guys in their rotation.
Jerome and I think it's the light skinned guy with the afro, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
him. I can't remember his name though.
I think they gave him a regular contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Did they? They
For
didn't
the
have
rest
a
of the
roster
year.
spot. Did they cut somebody?
I believe so. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Hold on, I'll tell you right now. What's his name? What's his name? His name is Anthony Lamb, right?
Anthony Lamb. That's him. That's him. I think the Warriors want to keep both of those guys, and so I think they'll do like some weird move to make roster space. And I think the Knicks are going to be circling in the water for that.
Oh, he's still on a two-way. He hasn't
Yeah,
changed.
yeah,
He has just a
yeah.
limited amount of games left, which they haven't really been throwing him
Right,
out there to play as much to limit him coming up on that deadline.
right.
But he might have to. They might have to give him a contract.
They have to give him a contract, and what they'll probably do is give him a 2-year deal. You know what I'm saying? Like basically, the guaranteed year is this one, right?
Mhm.
And then next year will be like a team option type of
A
thing.
camp deal, like you get all the way to
Yeah,
camp and see if they keep you.
yeah, but it looks like a 2-year deal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Paris Douglas had something up here. Let me read Paris Douglas' contribution. Paris Douglas says, we're Brunson and RJ panel away from first. Okay, we read that one. And then there was okay. All right. So I don't want to put you on the spot, but for fun, real quick, in this last 10 minutes or so, and I'll put myself on the same spot, right?
Mhm.
Is there a specific player that you think the Knicks are targeting? Say they're not doing what we say they're going to do. Is there a specific player you think they are going to target and try to go after?
Like more than a marginal move. Like
Yeah.
it might be just plain, but from all the reports, it's looking like they really want OG, and they might do a part with like one unprotected and like a bunch of other protected picks for other teams. From the looks
Right.
of it, that's about as far as I can go. I don't know if it'll ever happen because that would require a commitment from the guy that's sleeping in my avatar, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
No, I feel
I'm
you.
not 100% sure, but if we were to make some sort of move that is bigger than the marginal move, that would be it, the OG move.
Okay.
But Masai is gonna get. He's not gonna take any pennies on a dollar.
Right.
He's gonna get everything. He want everything. He's gonna get that full dollar basically.
I do. Yo, TGK TV is in the building. What's good? Mavs fans in the building. Shout out. Yo, TGK is like, yo, who happy for the Mavs in here, man? I'm excited for y'all, man.
I'm happy we don't play
y'all
y'all.
finally got Luka some help, and I think y'all front office is going to stay busy.
I'm happy we don't play y'all at all.
Right, and I think the other Texas teams, are going to continue to implode. So, but Justin DW says Clips fold again. We should call about Kawhi next year. That's interesting. That's interesting.
But
I don't know.
the thing about Kawhi, he made it pretty sound like he went to LA to stay there. Like he's gonna
To be
retire.
there, yeah.
He doesn't necessarily care about he cares about winning, but if it doesn't happen, he's not about to like hightail it to go win a title. He's already won 2. He's good. He's good with his legacy at this point. He's just cashing checks right now.
Basically, I mean, he's still gonna play at a high level.
Oh yeah, for sure, for his pride, but he's not trying to force his way out of there.
He's not
he forced his way to get there for a reason.
Yeah.
So
I would say
Who do you
the
think?
move that the Knicks are maybe hell bent on doing. The move the Knicks are hell bent on doing. I'm thinking OG Ananobi also, but just for S and Gs, just to make things interesting, bro. I think the Sadiq Bey deal is closer to being done than any of them, and for this reason, the Knicks don't have a positive relationship trading with the Toronto Raptors, right?
Right.
Um, but I will say this though: the Knicks do have a positive transactional history with the Detroit Pistons.
And
If anybody can offer the Pistons what they want for Sadiq Bey, I think it's the Knicks, and then they already have a good working relationship. You know what I mean? So if the Knicks are hell bent on that wing, I think it's more on the Sadiq Bey front. If they do the OG Ananobi thing, I think it'd be exciting because that means we just established another positive working relationship with another organization under this regime,
mm,
right? Because just because you take over as team president, don't mean you have a good working relationship with other organizations. You have to work on that,
mm,
and so I think the Knicks are probably the closer we get. I think the more they'll focus on Sadiq Bey, just because the Raptors thing and with Masai Ujiri, fool me once and blah 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 and all that stuff. And I know that was a
mhm.
different era and a different regime, but it's the same two organizations,
Right.
right? But anyways, man, I'm gonna wrap up and get out of here. But chat, listen. We got other joints going on. Tony Crow is rocking right now, or is about to rock. I don't know for sure. Tony Crow is rocking. For the love of the game is watching. Man, for y'all viewing pleasure, y'all go hang out with them, check them out, man. Go show your love and support for those guys. I'm gonna try to shoot a couple of shorts in a little while after I make a visit to this wonderful fridge over here. And take a dip in that pool back there. Dre, as usual, it's been a pleasure, bro.
Anytime.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Maybe if the schedules can align, maybe we can rock a little bit tonight. I'm not for sure. I would have to hit you up and let you know.
Bet.
Um, the fam is enjoying Disney, and so
Oh,
I
I
don't want to
wanna.
speak for
Yeah,
them.
hey, I feel you.
And then I don't want
I
to
seen L. I mean L. I seen Hard Will talking about they talking hip hop, so I might swing over there
yeah,
and see
man.
what they talking about.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Anyway, everybody, thank y'all for rocking with us, man. We'll see y'all later, man. Peace, y'all.